Good morning, hope you're feeling nice and lively today. We've had a little bit of snow, I don't know if you can tell in our back garden, but only enough to build the teeniest little snowman that big. Today I thought we would have a little trip around the world, and I've got my globe with me because we can't really travel at the moment, but we can go where we like in our imaginations. So we are starting off in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom, and we're that little pink splodge there. So we're going to start off in London. I'm just going to put my globe down. You're travelling, are you? You had enough of this? Yeah. Okay, so let's put that down there. And to start off in London, the first thing we're going to do is go on a nice big red bus. Let's have a little shuffle on our sitting bones from side to side and sit with our legs out in front. And if we have nice strong legs, it helps us sit up with a lovely long back. We can think of our heads fluting upwards towards the ceiling, shoulders away from your ears, and we're going to start to drive our big red buses. So let's rev the engine and start to drive our buses forwards. And I don't think we can go this way, so we're going to go backwards. So we'll change into reverse and go backwards down our mats again. I'll have a little think about what else we might see in London. Let's go forwards again. Do you know, I think reversing a big red bus would be absolutely terrifying. I hope they get lots of practice. Okay, let's get off our buses. Now, there's one sort of creature that we see everywhere in London, and that is a pigeon. There are pigeons everywhere. So we're going to do pigeon pose. We'll get on our hands and our knees. Tuck our toes under and lift up into downward facing dog to start with, and then lift one leg in the air, bend your knee and swing it forwards. So we're in pigeon pose, and you can take your knee a little bit out to the side and come up into pigeon pose that way. So if it hurts your knee or your hip, you can have your knee going forwards instead and see if that feels a bit more comfortable. But pigeon pose, it feels amazing. Let's go down onto our elbows and see if that's comfortable. And if that feels okay, you can have a stretch out. See if you can bring your head down to the floor. I want to stay there for a long time, but we better not do that or we won't get anywhere else. So I'll come back to our elbows, onto our hands, tuck your back toes under. We're going to push into our hands, come up to downward facing dog, lift your other leg in the air and swing forwards for pigeon pose. Up we go. Lovely big stretch. So you decide if your knee is comfortable and if your hip's comfortable, and you can change the position if not. And then let's have a little stretch out in front. Lovely. Okay, and then back to downward facing dog. So we've been on a bus, we've seen some pigeons. Let's see if there's any landmarks that we recognise. Now, if you go to the Houses of Parliament, I've just noticed how dark I look. I'm just going to put a bit more light on. So the Houses of Parliament are by the river in London, and there's a tower there. And everyone calls the tower Big Ben, but it is not called Big Ben. It is called St. Stephen's Tower. So we're going to be nice and tall like St. Stephen's Tower. Let's start with our feet together. And a nice tall back, your head's going upwards because it's a pointy tower, and shoulders away from our ears and nice strong arms going down the side. And St. Stephen's Tower has got a clock on it. At the moment it's surrounded by scaffolding because they're repairing it. And inside St. Stephen's Tower is a bell, a big bell, and the bell is called Big Ben. So people get the tower and the bell muddled up, but it's actually the bell called Big Ben. So we're going to take our feet wide, and we're going to imagine that we're like a bell and we're the clapper that is swinging inside. So let's reach up and forwards. And you can bend your knees a little bit if you need to. So if you breathe in, reach up, breathe out, and imagine you're going bong. We could do a big bong as we swing forwards, bong. So if you ever hear the news, they have the sound of big bell going bong on the news. We'll just do one more big bong. Fantastic. Right, what else could we see in London? Well, we see, I think we could go on a boat ride now down the Thames. So let's get down onto our mats again, and we're going to imagine that we are like the Thames. So it flows very slowly, so let's reach forward to our toes and very slowly flow the river towards us. Reach up, forwards, and flow that river towards us. And it's quite wide and quite murky, the Thames, but there's lots of boat trips on the Thames. So I think we should do boat pose next. Now, when I do boat pose, I like to check I've got lots of space behind me, so that if I roll backwards, it doesn't matter. So check you've got space, and then see if you can roll backwards and forwards. And then boat pose is a balance on your sitting bones. So we'll just check we can feel both our sitting bones. If you sit down, you can feel your two bony sitting bones. And then we're going to hold on to our knees and tip backwards. And then keep your toes so that they're level with your knees. Shoulders away from your ears and your chest going forwards. And maybe you can let go of your knees. Maybe you can hold your knees, straighten your legs and then let go. And then if you lose your balance, it doesn't matter because you can just roll backwards and forwards again. So I love playing around with boat pose, and maybe you can roll back and then come up to a balance. Whee! So had our boat trip down the Thames. I think we could sail all the way down the Thames and out to France. It's a bit of a long way round, but let's do that. So we're going to come out of the mouth of the river all the way down to the sea, because every river flows to the sea. And we're going to go to France next, and France is the green blob here by my finger, and eventually we're going to end up in Paris. It's quite a long sail. It's not the quickest way, but we don't care. I'm going to have a little look to see if anybody's saying hello this morning. Okay, so not yet, but it's lovely to hear from you. If you've got any ideas of where you might want to visit somewhere in the world, then please put them in the comments and I can see if we can think of some yoga poses for it. So when we get to Paris, first of all, one of the most famous landmarks in Paris is the Eiffel Tower. So we're going to stand up and be the Eiffel Tower. So have nice wide feet and then reach up with your arms and just see how pointy and tall you can make your Eiffel Tower shape. And then there's also an art gallery called the Louvre, and outside it is a glass pyramid. So to do our glass pyramid, we're going to do triangle pose. So we'll keep our feet wide, turn one set of toes out and the other in, and then we're going to reach out with one arm. So keep the other one on your hip for now. So reaching out and then tip over, and then roll this shoulder up to the ceiling. And there's lots of triangles going on in this pose, which is why it's quite good to be a glass pyramid. So there's a triangle here, and there's a triangle with your legs as well. So let's stand up again, turn our toes forwards, and then we'll go out the other way. So we'll turn the left toes out, right toes in, reach out with a hand, and tip over. Roll your shoulder up towards the ceiling, and reach up. So we've done our glass Louvre pyramid on each side. We've had a suggestion of going to Egypt. We are on our way to Egypt. We'll get there eventually. So we've done our glass pyramid, we've done the Eiffel Tower, and actually in Paris there are some Egyptian things. There are sort of needles and things. So I think we will eventually end up in Egypt, but I'd like to go to Italy first. We're going to fly to Italy because it took quite a long way to get from London to Paris by boat. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a helicopter. So this is how we're going to be a helicopter. You can do your shoulder stand, and you can either have a bend at your hips, or you can see if you can really straighten up. And then, I'm slipping slightly, we're going to be helicopter propellers with our legs. Whee! So this is how we're going to be helicopters. Now if you don't like going onto your shoulders and neck, you can be a helicopter that way instead. Oh, you can tell it changes what my voice sounds like depending on how high in the air my legs are. So we're helicoptering to Italy, and in Italy there soldiers, Roman soldiers, and the Romans also liked watching fights, and they had fights with gladiators. So we're going to do a couple of Roman soldier or gladiator poses. So we'll start with our feet wide again. We're going to do a warrior pose. So we'll lift up one set of toes, turn the other toes in, bend your knee, reach your arms out, have a stretch forwards and backwards. Oh, and we've got lovely strong warrior legs, strong warrior arms. And if we have a look down the middle finger, it makes us feel quite calm. So warriors need to be quite calm because they need to sort of think about how they're going to fight and defend themselves. And let's lower our arms, twizzle all our toes forwards, turn the other toes out, other toes in, bend the knee, reach out with the arms. So lovely, calm, focused warriors. When we're doing warrior poses in yoga, it's not because we want to fight people. We actually want to fight against some of the unhelpful thoughts and feelings that we have, the thoughts and feelings that make us feel we're not good enough to do things. So we don't want to fight each other. We want to be peaceful towards each other. But sometimes these feelings that make us feel we're not good enough, they're the things we want to fight against. Let's do another warrior pose. So if we start at the back of the mat, take a step forwards, let your back heel come down, arms in the air, bend your front knee, nice strong arms, nice strong legs, just taking a couple of breaths there. Feeling strong and powerful but calm as well. Lower your arms, set your feet together, and then we'll take a step forwards with the other foot, back heel down, hips facing forwards, arms in the air, bend your front leg, take a couple of breaths there. So lovely, strong, powerful arms and legs. Then let's lower the hands and step our feet together. So, didn't actually say how we travelled from France to Italy, but we've been to France, which is the green blob, down to Italy, which is orange, and now we're going to go to Egypt, and Egypt is green, and it's here, it's in North Africa. So we're going to get there by flying. We're going to go on an aeroplane. So let's start at the back of your mat, take a step forwards, bend your knees, reach out with your aeroplane wings, and then see if you can tip forwards and balance. And if you feel a bit wobbly, then you can put your hand on something. So let's try being an aeroplane on one foot, and you can sort of have a little fly from one side to the other if you want to, and then bend your knee, wobble, and come back, and then we'll be an aeroplane on the other foot. So take a step forward, bend your knee, slowly tip, and we'll have a fly all the way to Egypt. Whee! Okay, and then back again. So in Egypt, we've got pyramids in Egypt. We're going to do a different sort of pyramid pose here because we've already done, we've done a glass pyramid in Paris, but we're going to do a different pyramid here because these are ancient stone pyramids. So we'll have our hands in front of our shoulders, tuck our toes under, lift up. So in downward facing dog, this is how we're doing our pyramid for Egypt. And there's quite a few pyramids. And now we're going to do Sphinx pose. And Sphinx pose is actually named after a famous Egyptian statue, which is absolutely huge. And it is half man, half lion. So it's got the head of a man and the body of a lion. And the Sphinx has got its front legs out in front of it like this. So we've got our elbows under our shoulders, take your shoulders away from your ears and look forwards. And I once did this pose in a class of children, and they said, well, what about the nose? Because the Sphinx in Egypt doesn't have a nose, it's fallen off. So the only way I can flatten my nose is to sort of pull my upper lip down like that, and it doesn't really flatten my nose very well, but if you want to, you can do that, or you can squash it with one hand. Oh, so that's our Sphinx pose. They also have snakes in Egypt. So we're going to do cobra pose. So we're in quite a good position to do cobra from here. So if you put your hands under your shoulders and lift up just a bit. We don't want to totally straighten our arms. We're just going to lift our hands up because you're also using your muscles in your back to keep you up high. and then you can have a hiss over one shoulder and a hiss over the other, and be a cobra like that. As cobra snakes, they lift right up, and they look quite menacing, I think. So that's our cobra. And then because we've done a couple of little back bends already, back bends are where you're opening up the front of your body, we can have a go at camel pose. So camel pose, if you're kneeling, you can put your hands on your hips and then really open up your chest towards the ceiling. And if you can, maybe reach back towards your heels. I can't easily do that. I like to use lots of different things to help me. So you can either keep your hands on your hips, or you can lean on a chair, or if you're really bendy, like I know a lot of children are, you can reach back and hold on to your heels. And if it's comfortable, take your head all the way back. So don't do a sort of halfway thing. If your head is back, then when your body comes upwards, you can let your head slot into place at the last minute. Okay, so we've done cobra, we've done camel, we've done sphinx, and we've done pyramids as well. There's a very famous river in Egypt called the Nile, and people like doing boat trips on the Nile as well. So I think we should have another boat trip. So let's have a little wriggle on our sitting bones. Tip back, hold on to your knees, and then decide if you want to straighten your legs, if you want to take your hands away. And I think this boat's sinking. So let's just sink a little bit, and sink a little bit more, and then go splat. Ugh. Okay, I think we need to get rescued from our boat. How shall we go to the next place? I think what we're going to do is go all the way down to Africa, to South Africa. So let me just show you where we are. We're starting in Egypt. And we're going to go all the way down to South Africa. So whereabouts should we go? All the way down to the bottom here, that's South Africa there. Now, we've done helicopter, we've done aeroplane, we've done a boat. My mind's gone blank. I think we need a magic carpet to get us to South Africa. So we're going to sit on our magic carpet. And it's quite a bumpy magic carpet. If you're on a yoga mat, you can sort of flap the sides up like this. We're going to rock from side to side, and then we're going to go forwards and backwards, and to one side and to the other side, and forwards and backwards to one side and then the other side, and we're going to land in South Africa. And the first thing we're going to see is an elephant, because they're my favourite animal. So let's get to our feet. We're going to have nice wide feet. Elephants have got really strong legs. And we're going to do a trunk with two hands and reach up in the air, and then lean forwards and imagine you've got a lovely pool of water in front of you. And when you breathe in, you can draw water into your trunk and then lift up, and we're going to splash it around everywhere. So our noses aren't big enough to do this, but elephants have got lovely long trunks that they can suck water into without breathing it into their lungs, and then blow it all out, all over the place. Let's do that one more time. Ooh. And then splash it all over the place. Right, so there's elephants in South Africa, and there's lions as well. Now, we did our lion pose when we had our zoo visit the other day. And lion pose is not just about what position you do with your body, but it's what you do with your face as well. And we need to have a big eyes, big mouth, and a big scary face. So we're going to take a breath in, and as we breathe out, go like that. So let's do that again. We'll do another couple of lion roars. So if you kneel with your hands in front of you, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, go. And we'll do one more of those. Take a breath in. So we're not just doing lion pose, we're doing lion breath as well. I think that we should do one more South African animal, and then we're going to go somewhere else. So we're going to do a giraffe. And a giraffe pose for us is a balance. So we've got both our feet on the floor. We're going to look at something that's not going to move. Take your weight into one foot and bend the other knee. And maybe, if you're feeling stable enough, you can hold on to that foot and then reach up with your other arm. And my hand has gone out of shot, but I'm going to do a giraffe munching on leaves with the other arm. So that's our giraffe pose, and because we've done a balance on one side, we need to do it on the other. And of course, if you're finding it wobbly, you can put a hand out, so you can bend your knee and use a hand to support you, and then reach up, or if you're feeling nice and stable, you can hold onto that foot and reach up and have a little munch there. So that's our giraffe. Okay, we're going to go down to the coast, and we're going to do something. We're going to surf all the way to Australia. It's a really long way. There's South Africa, there's Australia. Australia is huge. That amount of sea is huge. You would never surf all that way. You're ahead of me here, Sophie's mum. You keep suggesting where we're going next. So we're going to surf to Australia. We did a warrior pose when we were in Rome, but we're going to do that as a surfing pose now. So we have nice wide feet, turn one set of toes out, turn the other set of toes in, raise your arms, bend your knee, and we're going to surf forwards and backwards. Now if you're feeling flash, you can bring it into a bit of a balance, because we've got quite a long way to surf all the way to Australia. So we've got time to play around, and then let's swivel our feet round and go the other way, forwards and backwards, and then we'll tip forwards. Or you can leave that back toe down just to steady you a bit while you get your foot nice and steady. Hey, I love doing tricks on a surfboard in my imagination, because in real life, whenever I've tried to stand on a surfboard, I've splattered on my face. Okay, so we're going to get to the ground, we're going to get to the shore in Australia and jump off our surfboards and have a little look around. So, in Australia, what sort of animals do we see? We see kangaroos. So we're going to do some squats first, because kangaroos have got really strong legs. If you have your feet wide, and we're going to bend our knees and see if we can squat down. Now some of you will be able to get right to the floor. This is about as far as I get, and we can tuck our paws in, our front paws, as we're sitting down, and let your tail, imagine your tail's going towards the ground to support you, and then we'll push into our feet to come up. Then let's just get down again. See if maybe you can squat a little bit deeper second time, push into your tail to get up. And now we're going to do some jumping, because they've got such strong, powerful legs, they can jump quite a long way. So bend your knees and boing. And you might want to use your hands a little bit as well. Whee! There's something about jumping around in the morning, isn't there? It really gets you going. So that's our kangaroo pose. They've also got crocodiles, enormous crocodiles. So we're going to do a crocodile pose now. So if we get on our tummies, and we're going to lie with our arms out in front. So it's a bit like when we were doing Sphinx pose in Egypt. And then reach back with one hand and go snap. And then reach back with the other hand and go snap. We'll do that once more on each side. And once more on the other side. Okay, and also koala bears. So to be a koala bear, we're going to imagine that we're hugging a tree. So, to do this is another balance, and we normally call this eagle pose. So if you've done this with me before, you'll remember what we're doing, but we're going to use our arms and legs and pretend we're hugging a tree. So for our arms, if you hug yourself with one arm on top, and see if you can get your hands right down your shoulders, and then bring the backs of your hands together, and then see if you can twist around one more time. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. If that isn't comfortable, you can either just hold your shoulders or keep the backs of your hands together. So those are our hands. And remember which arm you've got on top, because we're going to do the other one next. And now we're going to come into a balance. So bend your knee and wrap the other leg around it. And if you're feeling wobbly, you can have your toes on the floor. You might find you can get your toes all the way around. Mine don't quite go, but that doesn't matter. Even if you're like this, you're doing your version of our koala bear pose. So there's a koala on one side. So you'll remember which leg you stood on. That's much easier, but let's remember which arm's on top, and then swap over, and then twist the arms back again, Take the weight into the other leg, twist all the way around. Oh, I'm having a wobble. This is my wobbly side. So whenever we do balances, it's always interesting to know which is your wobbly side and which is your more steady side. And then we'll undo and bring both feet down again. Oh, so I think it's time we started to fly home again. We're on the other side of the world, about as far as home as we can be. So we're in Australia. We've got to get all the way back to England. Now, it normally takes a whole day in an aeroplane, so I think we need some magic. So we're going to go back on our magic carpets, but this time we're going to lie down. So let's lie down on our magic carpets. Oh, have your arms out to the side. If your back feels a bit sore, you can bend your knees. You can have a pillow under your head if you want to. And because it's very cold outside, please do make sure that you feel warm enough. So if you stay lying there, I'm going to come towards the camera so that I can tell you what we're doing now. Oh, so this magic carpet works best if your breathing is slow. So when you breathe out, feel the carpet holding you up. And when you breathe in, imagine that you're getting a bit lighter, so the carpet's starting to lift up and taking you with it. So you're breathing out to feel the carpet hold you up. Breathe in and you feel lighter, the carpet lifts up. And because we're in Australia, the sky is blue and you're just going up and up towards the blue sky and the sunshine. Oh, floating higher and higher. And then the carpet begins to fly. And as the carpet flies, the weather's changing. If you look over the edge of your carpet, you can see clouds beneath you. But up here above the clouds, the sky's totally blue, it's totally sunny. You can see the sun in the sky, but we're travelling away from the sun. And as you carry on, there's still clouds beneath you, but now it's getting a bit darker. The sun's going further and further away, and you're seeing a sunset from above the clouds. Then you get closer to your home, you look down, you can see the clouds beneath you, and we're going to get lower and lower until eventually we sink through a cloud, and the cloud's a bit damp and it's tingly on your skin, and all around you it just looks like grey white mist. And we're going to sink lower beneath the clouds. When you look down, you can see snow on the ground again, and back to your home, and hopefully someone's left a door or window open and you can just fly through and then land on the floor. So you gently lower down, and now you can feel the floor beneath you, feel the floor beneath your yoga mat, beneath your magic carpet. And we're just going to lie there, just quietly, having a rest after the adventure we've been having. And then give your fingers and toes a little wriggle and have a stretch out. And then slowly come up to sitting. And we're going to take a few big breaths here just to wake ourselves up again. So we'll take a breath in, reach up towards the ceiling, breathe out and bring your hands together. And we'll do that twice more. So make this the last one. And thank you very much for joining in this morning. So I hope you like travelling around the world. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.